Hello YouTube! Today we take a trip on Nostalgia Road and take a look again at the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Specifically, we're looking to answer the question whether it's possible for the player in the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind not to be the Nerevarine. I was already wondering this a few weeks ago when I was replaying parts of Morrowind again for an upcoming video, but recently I saw a Reddit post on the topic a few days ago and that really sparked my interest. So, let's see what I found out on this question that I've been wondering, well, I think since my first Morrowind playthrough. Let's do this. Many players over the years have praised Morrowind for its many choices, great player freedom and immersive storytelling. It's undeniable that it's likely that it's the most story-heavy game in the Elder Scrolls series, with thousands of pages of dialogue for the player to explore. It isn't really a surprise, as Morrowind wasn't restrained yet by having to be fully voice-acted like Skyrim and Oblivion. This trade-off is quite simple. The better quality voice acting you want, generally the less dialogue you can fit because of the cost and immense workload. But Morrowind did not have those restraints. If the developers wanted to add an extra little story tidbit, they could just write something and program it into the game as text, causing for Morrowind to be the best choice and dialogue-heavy game in the series. But one of those choices has always been particularly interesting to me. Near the end of your quest to defeat Dagoth-Ur, Dagoth himself asks you whether you think you are the Nerevarine, and you then have the choice to outright say no. Even though you fulfilled the prophecy of the Nerevarine and the inhabitants of Morrowind see you as the Nerevarine, it leaves an opening to just say no. But this is not the only instance of it being intentionally vague whether you as the player are the Nerevarine or not. But let's start at the beginning. What, or rather who, is the Nerevarine exactly? Very oversimplified, the Nerevarine is a reincarnation of Imperial Nerevar, ancient Chimera war leader. When the tribunal of Vivec, Almalexia and Sota Sil drew power from the heart of Lorkhan after Imperial Nerevar's death, the Daedric prince Azura warned them that one day Nerevar would return and punish them for this deed, in turn creating the Nerevarine prophecy of a Nerevar incarnate who would right the wrongs of the past by also permanently defeating Dagoth-Ur. This reincarnation would show himself by completing the 7 trials of the Nerevarine prophecy. He would be born on a certain day to uncertain parents under a certain sign. He would survive the blight disease and not be harmed by age. He would reach the Cave of the Incarnate, a temple dedicated to Azura, where he would receive the Moon and Star Ring. Then he would unite the great houses of Morrowind and be called Hortator, or their war leader, and after that unite the Velati Icelander tribes and be named Nerevarine by them. He would then defeat Dagoth-Ur's minions and ultimately Dagoth-Ur himself. And finally he would free the cursed false gods, often interpreted as getting rid of the tribunal. If a person did all these things, he or she would be recognized as a true incarnation of Nerevar and be proclaimed Nerevarine. But over the years there have been many failed incarnates and false incarnates, those who completed a few of these trials but not all of them, or in case of the false incarnates, those who claimed they did but never actually did. We can see many failed incarnates in the Cave of the Incarnate during Morrowind's adventure, and we can actually meet and view the journey of one of them in the Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind questline. Now, the interesting thing about these failed incarnates is that they all completed several of the trials, but never truly completed all of them, and thus ending up as a failed incarnate, not truly the reincarnation of Imperial Nerevar. Most people always assume that these failed incarnates, that they died here in the Cave of the Incarnate, because we find them here, and that they died on their 3rd trial when they had to wear the Ring of Moon and Star, which only Nerevar could wear, and then ultimately just proved not to be the true incarnate. But that's far from the truth, as if you speak to them, you can find out that many of them died in other ways, long before they even reached the Cave of the Incarnate, or even after they had been there, as it sort of implied that the failed incarnate Peak Star might have been able to wear the ring, pass the 3rd trial, but then get killed by an ash vampire before she could unite the houses and the Ashlanders, something she didn't see herself capable of anyway. Just like with the others, her body was placed in the Cave of the Incarnate, likely by Azura or her minions in order to guide coming possible incarnates. Most of the failed incarnates that we meet had good intentions and fulfilled certain trials, but then there's a string of bad luck with them, bad decisions or pressure of others which eventually led to their demise and their failure of the prophecy. And while this might have been destiny, they were on the path towards becoming recognized as a true incarnate, only to fail on their journey. So what about the player? The first trial you've already passed when you enter the game. You pass the second trial when Divate Fear removes the bad effects of corpus disease from your body and essentially grants you immortality with it. You're then sent to the Cave of the Incarnate, where you retrieve the Moon and Star Ring, presumably only worn by a true incarnation of Nerevar and Nerevar himself. This is the point where most people agree that the player is indeed the Nerevarine, and so do most in-game characters, as this ring is the proof that a lot of them need to officially recognize you as a true incarnate. But is that true? As I've seen many people online theorize that this ring, now being in the care of Azura, can simply be altered by her, and that she bestows it upon possible Nerevarines to enable them to carry out the prophecy, meaning that failed incarnate Peakstar might have actually been able to wear it. This theory stems from the fact that this prophecy, while in wording saying that the Nerevarine will be the vengeful reincarnation of Imperial Nerevar, could also be interpreted as them being the vengeful tool of Azura, as in the end Nerevarine basically does her bidding, meaning that granting the ring by Azura does not per se have to mean that you are the true reincarnation of Nerevar. Rather, Azura wishes you to be seen as the reincarnation of Nerevar in order to do her bidding, which enables you to unite the houses and the Ashlanders, making it so that in the end you can defeat Dagodur. And this is essentially what it all boils down to. You might or might not be the actual reincarnation of Nerevar. Nobody ever outright confirms it. Dagodur welcomes you as the reincarnation, but only because you completed the trials and he allowed you to grow over your journey instead of killing you early, so he could battle Nerevar's true reincarnation. It's never outright confirmed that you are his reincarnation to begin with. You never speak to his spirit or something like that, which you sometimes see in Elder Scrolls games, draw from his memories or soul. All you do can be explained on your own merit and Azura's will and guidance. Many people during the story, for example, like Caius Cosades, your early Blade mentor in the game, and Nibini Misa, the Ashlander wise woman, tells you that at the moment of speaking to them, you are not the Nerevarine, and that if you fulfill the prophecies, you might become the Nerevarine. Caius even tells you that he doesn't care whether you are the Nerevarine or not, and that he doesn't really believe in it, but if the Dunmer believe you are, then the outcome of your quest has to be a positive thing for the Empire, and then he sees it that he has done his job. During the entire Morrowind main questline, you are on a path to become the Nerevarine, to become the hero incarnate the people of Morrowind need, but at no point that's certain. You might have died along the way, and then might not have been the Nerevarine. Azura might have placed your body in the Cave of the Incarnate then, and just waiting for the next possible reincarnation, them being guided by you instead of Peakstar and the others. But still, there are reasons to think that you as the player are different. You've been sent to Morrowind by the Emperor himself for an unknown reason, presumably because he saw something in you, or knew that you had the potential to become the Nerevarine and rid the world of Dagodur. Perhaps it was written in the Elder Scrolls, but then even the Elder Scrolls are not written in stone, and their writings are subject to change and uncertainty. The grey maybe hangs over this entire story and Morrowind's entire questline. In the end, you are the one who completes the prophecy and slays Dagodur. But were you truly destined? Are you a true reincarnation? Or did you press on your own merit and with some luck and Azura's guidance became, to others, the legitimate reincarnation? This maybe hangs over all of Morrowind, and it's one of the reasons that this game is so great. I mean, Morrowind has such a good story with many facets, endless dialogue options, that you can never know the true story and never know the true truth. Are the Tribunal good or evil? Is Dagodur truly the bad guy? Are you really the chosen Nerevarine? These questions truly never get answered, and they are up for interpretation, and they are completely dependent on your actions. If you died half along the way, well, you're not, if you then stop playing. While I love Skyrim and Oblivion to death, Skyrim especially, their reliance on voice acting, in my opinion, hurt their potential to reach Morrowind's heights, as the amount of dialogue that's used to construct Morrowind's story was never truly an option for the developers to create in Skyrim and Oblivion. Limiting the dialogue means that we will most likely never get another Elder Scrolls game like Morrowind, where you have to basically get through hours and hours of dialogue and pages of dialogue to get the whole story, and even then, there's still uncertainty. And while some might disagree, as this is just a fact of, clever writing, I personally suspect that modern day Bethesda is simply not going to create another Morrowind in that regard. And, that's kind of a shame. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the topic. Let me know whether you agree or disagree, as literally everything I said in this video is up for interpretation. But this whole interpretation thing is why I like the Elder Scrolls so much, and why Morrowind remains one of my best games in terms of story. Now, before I end this video, allow me to vocally thank my top patrons, Mr. Bernardo Binda, Metaloid1v1, Gabriel Binda, Mr. Para, and Mr. Christmas. These wonderful people, along with the others on screen, make my weekly lore series possible, and I'm very grateful for it. That said, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. It's a topic that I've been wondering since, I think, the first time I played Morrowind, because the dialogue was always weird to me, sometimes. But yeah, I finally did it, even though I was really hesitant, since I know that these kind of topics really get a lot of controversy, and I don't really like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I will see you next Tuesday in the next Elder Scrolls Lore video. Bye bye.